They told him it was simply age, slower circulation, declining performance. That's just what happens after 60, the doctor said with a casual shrug. But 3 months later, he was rushed to the ER with symptoms mimicking a heart attack. The real cause? Not his heart, but restricted blood flow where it mattered most. No one had warned him that poor circulation doesn't just impact your legs or chest. It can quietly erode your intimacy, your self-assurance, and your emotional closeness with the one you love. Hello, I'm Dr. James. For over 30 years, I've helped men reclaim their vitality, restore their energy, and yes, rekindle intimacy. I've worked with thousands of men over 60, and there's one thing I know for sure. Aging isn't the issue. The real problem is what's being ignored and how simple lifestyle tweaks can reverse the course. Most folks think of baking soda as just something for the oven or for cleaning, but used this way, just as I'll show you, it can dramatically improve circulation, vascular flexibility, and nitric oxide production. That's right, a humble item in your kitchen may be the missing link to feeling younger, more vibrant, and reconnected where it counts most. And don't worry, John Baum, I'm not here to bury you in medical jargon. I'll explain exactly how it works, why it's effective, and how to use it safely. But be warned, doing it the wrong way could backfire, especially as we age, so stick with me. In just a minute, I'll share a simple method that's been quietly transforming the lives of men over 60 nationwide. Before we go any further, if practical, transformative health advice matters to you, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell icon. That way, you won't miss tips that help you grow stronger, feel more connected, and stay in control of your well-being. And if you're finding this valuable, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps shape content that serves you better. Now, let's uncover a truth most men over 60 never hear from their doctors, and it's costing them more than they know. You see, the gradual reduction in blood flow that starts in your 50s doesn't just drain your energy. It chips away at your physical strength, emotional resilience, and ability to feel connected to your partner. It starts subtly, cold hands and feet, running out of breath faster, a fading desire. But left unchecked, it escalates into something far more serious. One major issue among men over 60, poor circulation. I remember a man named Walter, 68, retired, married over 4 decades. He didn't visit my clinic for heart problems or intimacy concerns. He simply said, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." Even during summer, his hands were cold. He was dozing off early each evening. And though he didn't say it at first, I sense a silent burden, an inner loss he couldn't articulate. As we spoke more, he admitted intimacy had become infrequent, strained, even emotionally painful, not physically, but in spirit. He felt he was slowly vanishing from the man he used to be. Walter's experience is far more common than you'd think. It's among the most widespread and under-addressed issues affecting older men. And it all begins with blood flow. Blood flow. As we age, the inner lining of our arteries begins to harden. The vessels lose flexibility. Blood stops flowing freely. The smallest capillaries, those that keep us warm, vibrant, and responsive, shut down like rusting pipes. It doesn't strike overnight. It creeps in, quietly stealing vitality, until we chalk it up to just getting older. But it's more than that. It's poor circulation, and it doesn't just affect your body. It affects how you feel as a man, as a spouse, as a human being. It leaves you disconnected, disheartened, and questioning if your best days are behind you. I've seen men doubt themselves, question their worth, and pull away from affection, not from lack of love, but because their body stopped responding and no one ever explained why. But here's the good news. This decline is not destiny. Circulation can be enhanced. Vessels can regain their suppleness, and the spark you thought had faded can reignite. And yes, one of the simplest tools I've ever shared is probably already in your kitchen. I'm talking about baking soda, but not the way you're used to. Let me show you how this common pantry item, when used the right way, can help reverse the process that's been holding you back, and why the next few minutes could forever change how you see your body. If you're still with me and this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. It tells me you're engaged, you value your health, and you're ready for change. Let's now explore a second crucial truth: the serious impact of poor circulation. I'll never forget when Charles broke down in my office. He was 72, dignified, well-groomed, the kind of man who cared for everyone, family, neighbors, even a stray cat. But that day, something about him had shrunk, not in size, but in spirit. He leaned in and whispered, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." His labs looked fine, his heartbeat was steady, but I knew the issue. His body wasn't sending blood where he needed it most, not just to his limbs, but to the very places that fed his confidence, connection, and identity. Circulation wasn't just affecting his health, it was quietly unraveling his sense of self. Imagine your home's lights dimming, room by room. That's what slow blood flow does. First, your energy fades, then your sleep suffers, then your ability to respond in moments of intimacy falters. And this isn't just physical, it's deeply psychological. You start to doubt your worth, you feel emotionally distant even when your partner is right beside you. And this decline can't be undone with a pill or ignored with time. You need to understand what's failing beneath the surface. It's all about endothelial health, the lining of your blood vessels. When it's damaged, nitric oxide production drops. Without it, vessels can't widen, blood can't move freely. And guess which vessels suffer first? The smallest ones. Those tied to arousal, memory, warmth, vitality. What starts as minor fatigue or a softer response can signal vascular disease, heightened stroke risk, or erectile dysfunction, unresponsive to meds. Sadly, many men don't see it coming until the damage is done. But there's hope. The body wants to heal. Vessels can regain flexibility. Nitric oxide can be restored naturally, and you don't need harsh pills with scary side effects. In fact, there's a gentle, powerful way to begin this healing with something you've probably used your whole life. And when I started introducing this to my older patients, many returned saying, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this way again." So now let's talk about baking soda, used the right way, and how it can support your body's recovery from the inside out. This isn't just an old-fashioned remedy. 3. Baking soda, a simple but overlooked solution. I recall Harold, a soft-spoken 67-year-old retired math teacher. He tried everything: supplements, prescriptions, even late-night TV gadgets. "Nothing works," he said, defeated. "I feel like I'm chasing ghosts." He wasn't just tired physically, his spirit was drained. So I asked him, "Do you have baking soda in your kitchen?" He blinked. "You mean for cookies?" I nodded. "Yes, but not just for cookies. Most people think of baking soda as a deodorizer or baking ingredient. Few know what it can do inside the body, especially for men struggling with circulation and its hidden toll on energy, confidence, and connection. Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, isn't a miracle cure. It's a basic compound that, when used correctly, supports circulation and oxygen flow in a way that truly matters with age. Here's why it's effective. As we grow older, our bodies tend to become more acidic due to diet, stress, and declining kidney function. This acidity can narrow blood vessels and reduce oxygen delivery, two things you don't want if circulation is already poor. A small amount of baking soda in water, taken at the right time, helps neutralize excess acid. It gently restores pH balance, allowing blood to flow more freely. Better circulation often means more strength, warmth, and responsiveness, even in places you feared were beyond help. I've seen men like Harold try it under guidance and notice quiet but meaningful shifts. More morning energy, reduced stiffness, and a flicker of interest returning where only silence remained. Of course, it's not a miracle solution, and it doesn't replace healthy routines, but for many, it's been the start of a genuine transformation. When the body receives the right kind of support, it begins to respond, and sometimes in ways that exceed expectations. But I must be candid. What works gently when done correctly can cause harm if rushed, guessed at, or misapplied. That's where it gets tricky and potentially risky. So, before you grab the box and start mixing, there's something crucial you need to understand. Let me guide you step by step through how to use baking soda properly and what to avoid, so you don't unintentionally worsen things while trying to feel better. Fourth, the danger of misusing it. Let me be real with you. I've seen both sides of baking soda in action. I've witnessed it help men regain vitality and confidence, but I've also seen it cause setbacks when used recklessly. One patient, Dennis, was 70, still active, golfing twice weekly. He read online that baking soda could help with blood flow and thought, why not? So he began taking a teaspoon each morning and another at night, assuming more meant fast. Within a week, he was bloated, his blood pressure surged, and he ended up in the ER with heart palpitations and confusion. His kidneys, already weakened by years of silent strain, couldn't handle the overload. You see, baking soda itself isn't inherently dangerous, but it becomes hazardous when people treat it like a shortcut without understanding the science behind it. It's not like popping a vitamin. It's a potent substance that alters your body's internal chemistry, especially your pH balance, hydration status, and sodium levels. And for older adults, especially those taking blood pressure meds or managing kidney issues, that balance is delicate. At this age, the body operates like a finely tuned machine. Too much sodium, even from something as simple as baking soda, can disrupt your heartbeat, cause swelling, or spike blood pressure to unsafe levels. I've had to explain this to more than one well-meaning patient who just wanted to feel alive again, but didn't realize the risks of guessing. The upside? These dangers are completely preventable if you use it wisely. And wisely doesn't just mean using less. It means timing your intake, staying hydrated, knowing your medications, and listening closely to your body's signals. It's about asking the right questions, not chasing quick wins, and learning to cooperate with your body, not work against it. I always tell my patients, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe in any dose. Water is natural, but too much, too fast, can still hurt you. Baking soda can aid real recovery, but only when used with care, with respect, and ideally under guidance. Now, if you're still reading, I know you're not after a magic pill. You're searching for something that works, something that helps you feel like yourself again without endangering your health. So let me show you the correct way to do it, because in just a moment, I'll walk you through the exact approach I use with patients, the safe timing, the right dosage, and one essential tip that changes everything. Fifth, how to use it properly. When I bring up baking soda with my patients, the first thing they ask is always the same. Okay, doc, but how do I actually use it? And that's exactly the right question, because as we've seen, the difference between healing and harm comes down to how. For most relatively healthy adults over 60, the safest place to begin is with just 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a full glass of water, taken on an empty stomach, ideally first thing in the morning, not after a meal, not before sleep, and definitely not multiple times daily. Just once. That might seem minimal, but trust me, when it comes to inner balance, small is wise. I remember one of my patients, Ray, who was 74 and struggling with midday fatigue and circulation issues that made even short walks feel exhausting. We started him on that basic regimen, 1/4 teaspoon each morning, empty stomach, full glass of water. Within 3 weeks, he said, "I don't know what it is, doc, but I feel clearer, more stable, and my hands aren't cold anymore." Here's something most people overlook. Hydration. Baking soda works best when your body is well hydrated. That means sipping water throughout the day, not just when you're thirsty. When your blood is hydrated, circulation improves, oxygen flows more easily, and your organs, including those vital to intimacy, function more efficiently. So don't just focus on the baking soda itself. See it as part of a broader shift in how you support your body. And if you're on any medications, especially for blood pressure, heart, or kidney health, always speak to your doctor first. It's not about fear, it's about respect. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves thoughtful care. You wouldn't drive a vintage car without inspecting the engine first, right? Treat your health the same way. Most men don't need a miracle. They need one solid win to spark hope. One small step that says, you're not finished, you're not broken, you're still here. That's what this one simple habit can be, the beginning of that shift. Now, if all this sounds encouraging, stay with me just a bit longer, because in the final section, I'm going to share the story of a 76-year-old man who followed this very method and added one tiny change that took his results to a whole new level. You'll want to hear what happened next. Conclusion. There's a man named Frank I still think of often. He was 76, widowed, quiet, the kind of man who only spoke when it mattered. He came to see me after a friend mentioned baking soda. He wasn't looking for a miracle. He just wanted to feel more like himself, more present, more alive, maybe even open to new connection. We started him on the same routine I shared with you earlier, a small dose of baking soda each morning, proper hydration, and tuning in to what his body was telling him. But he added something else that changed everything: consistency. He didn't take it once and forget. He honored the process. He gave his body time to adapt. Within a few weeks, the changes weren't dramatic, but they were real. Warmth returned to his hands. He slept better. He was more engaged in conversation. Then one day, with a soft smile, he said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this kind of closeness again, but I do." What I've shared with you might seem simple, but don't underestimate its impact. We've discussed how poor circulation quietly affects millions of men over 60, draining energy, harming intimacy, making you feel like your best days are gone. We've explored how baking soda, used wisely, can help restore inner balance, improve blood flow, and bring life back to areas that have felt numb for too long. And we've made it clear, this isn't about shortcuts. It's about supporting your body with intention, patience, and care. If you've been feeling worn down, disconnected, or even hopeless about what's faded, I want you to hear this. It's not too late. The potential to heal is still there. Your body hasn't quit. It's just been waiting for you to listen. So maybe this small step is your new beginning. One glass, one habit, one quiet choice to reclaim your health, your energy, and your confidence. Not someday, today. Because you're not finished, you still matter, and there's still so much more life to feel.